Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back once again to another Minecraft tutorial. Today we are going to be making a bakery. I've had quite a few people ask me to do one of these lately, so I finally decided to go ahead and make it. And you'll notice kind of right off the bat that we're going to be doing things almost a little bit differently than normal. You'll see here we have a couple more rounded edges. Usually we tend to stick to having everything kind of straight and diagonal, but today we're going to be mixing it up just so our main city here has a little bit of a different look from all our other towns surrounding it. Now, for those of you wondering how much room you are going to need for this build, I'll go ahead and do a quick little overhead view. This square I'm looking down at right now is pretty much perfectly 9 by 9, with a few exceptions, as you'll see to the right and then straight down. There are a couple little edges that kind of stick out, and then also if you didn't catch this area over here to the left, this is a 5 by 9 section over here, and it's going to be kind of a little outdoor area, so keep all of this in mind before you start. And now what I'm going to do is show you guys where you need to place all of your pillars for the first floor section. And we'll go ahead and start all the way over here to the left side. And keep in mind, wherever I do one block, you guys are going to need to make a 4 tall pillar just like this. So that's where your first one's going to go. And then for the next one, you're going to skip 3 blocks and place that down there. And once again, we'll have another gap of 3 and you'll place this pillar. And then for the next one, you'll move back 1 block and right 1 block and place this pillar right there. And skipping a gap of 1, you'll do your next pillar, and your main front door is going to go right in between those. Now moving on to the right side of the build, we're going to be facing this way, and your first pillar will go here, and this is going to be back 1 and right 1 from the last one we placed just a little bit ago. And then after you've got that in, go ahead and skip a gap of 1 and place the next pillar in, and from there move back 1 and move right 1 and place the next pillar, and then we're going to skip a gap of 3 once again and place another pillar. And then moving out to the back side, what we'll do is move back 1, right 1, and then place that pillar to start that area off. And now this back side is going to consist of 3 gaps of 3, and they're each going to be divided by a pillar, just like this. So we've got that one. Here's our next one, oops, right here. And then our final one is going to be 3 blocks over, and we'll place that there. Now to finish this thing off, we'll be way over here to the left side, and this one only has 2 gaps of 3. But once again, it is divided by a pillar in the middle, just like that. Also, before we move on, I forgot to mention that you will need to add 1 more pillar in between here, just to kind of distinguish the indoor area from the outdoor area. But anyways, moving on, what we're going to do now is start to connect all of these with a cross beam. And then once you're done adding those all the way around, you can add some sticky addy bits on the top section of each one of your pillars, just like this. Before we move on, I did want to give you guys one more little overhead view, just so you can make sure you got all of your cross beams in the correct sections. And also I realized that since we're doing these new little sections that kind of stick out, it does get a bit tricky to figure out which way you want your sticky addy bits to face. So I'll fly around really quickly just so you guys can see how I did mine and make yours match up with them. But anyways, moving on, we're going to be filling in our walls. So you can start off by doing a layer of these stone bricks all the way around the build. And keep in mind, where I have the stone, you're not going to want to do them. So go ahead and leave that out and just continue it around the wooded area. And then above those, you can just go ahead and fill all of it in with cobblestone. And then once again, go ahead and leave this section open. Once you guys are done with your walls, it should be looking something similar to this. The next thing we're going to do is start to add some support and also some extra detail to our build. So we're going to begin by placing some stone brick stairs along the base of each one of our pillars we added in towards the beginning. And once you've got these going all the way around your build, what you can do is take a stone brick half slab and place these on top of each one of your stairs. And I'm going to recommend that you do this all the way around the build except on these 3 pillars right here on the outdoor section. Once you've got these finished up though, you can take out some spruce wood stairs and place them underneath each one of your sticky addy bits, and these can go anywhere, even on these 3 pillars outside. Moving on to the windows, like I always say, you guys can put these things wherever you think they look best. As for me, there's really nothing that looks too good on the back, so I'm going to leave those out, and then our left side over here is going to be occupied by other stuff. So the only places I'm going to add a window is starting off here on the right side, and this one's going to be normal. And then I'll add 1 more on the front, but I figured since this is a bakery, we might as well do something a little more unique. So what I'm going to do is actually carve out these 3 blocks and replace these 2 outside ones with cobblestone stairs, just like this. And that's going to give us room to place a cake or a pie right here in the window to cool down. Now, before we move on to the second floor, there are a couple more things I do want to add to the first floor, just to give it a tiny bit more detail. So we're going to start off by placing 2 half slabs on the outside of each one of our 3 wide gaps, just like this. And the next thing I wanted to do was take our spruce wood stairs and place them inside these 3 wide gaps, just like this, to make them almost look like mini archways. So finally, moving on to the second floor, I'm going to try to simplify this down for you guys just a bit by only placing in the 8 main pillars. Our first one's going to start here on the left side, and this is going to be 4 tall. In fact, they'll all be 4 blocks tall, so whenever I place 1 block down, just remember to raise it up so it's 4. The next one, we're going to skip a gap of 3 to the left and place that there. After that, skip 1 more gap of 3 and place another pillar. Then go forward, skipping a gap of 3, place 1, and then do that same thing again. And then the next one is going to be a little more tricky to find out where you need to put. So what you'll need to do is either find the window here or just the middle of this 3 wide gap, and then go 1 block to the right, place a little holder block right there, and then the other pillar will go right on top of that. And then the final one is going to be right in the middle of this corner, all the way over to the right side. And then, oops, that wasn't the final one. There actually is one more right in the middle here. And like always, guys, go ahead and connect each one of these with a cross beam, and then also place in your sticky addy bits on the tops of each one of these pillars. Next, what we're going to do is start to shape the main areas of our roof. Now to begin, we're going to start by placing our first block here on top of this sticky addy bit. And then from there, just go ahead and work your way up until you get to the middle of this section, which will be right here. And then once you get to that spot, you can work your way back down to the other side, all the way until it connects back with the other sticky addy bit. So there we go. And then you're going to have the same exact thing over here on the back side. So the 2 blocks, I guess you can use to reference, will just be placed on top of each one of these sticky addy bits. And then for the next main roof section, what you're going to do is start by placing your first 2 blocks on this right corner here, and then the other section where it should connect will be over there to the left. And just like for the other roof, we're going to go until we meet in the middle, except it's going to go up 2 blocks at a time instead of just 1. So it's going to continue this way all the way until you get to the top, and the top is probably the only area where you'll have to use just 1 block. And then once again, just like the other roof we did, go ahead and work your way back down on the other side. And once you get to a certain point, it should connect pretty much perfectly, just like that. After you guys complete the 3 roof sections, you can go ahead and connect them together with a crossbeam, just like you see here. Now moving on to our little areas that we added towards the beginning, we're going to be building upon those. So you can begin by placing 2 pillars right here, and these are each going to be 1 block apart from each other, and then we'll leave that how it is for now. And then moving on to the right side, this one's going to be a little more advanced. In fact, we'll actually end up adding a roof section on top of it once we're done. So we can start by placing our first pillar right there, and then the next one is going to be 3 blocks away from it, and that's going to go on that area. And then there's also a few things you guys can remove for this section, one being this sticky addy bit, and I also find it looks best if you just remove these blocks altogether. Now for that roof piece that I mentioned, you guys can start by placing a block here and then 2 on the front, and then also connect this with a crossbeam. And once you've got that in, you can start to shape your roof just by going up with a normal triangle shape, just like this, and then go back down on the other side until you reach there, and that's it. Now for the walls, I'm going to be using the white stained clay as my material, but as I usually say, if you're in default texture pack, go ahead and just use white wool or a mixture of the white wool and then maybe the light gray wool. But what you guys want to do is just fill in all of the 3 wide gaps, and then also some of the other sections that stick out of the main portion, but just make sure and leave all of the roof sections open. Before we start filling in some of the walls on the triangle shapes of our roof section, what we need to do is start to add some pillars in the middle just to kind of break it up and make it so it's not all one material. So the first one's going to go there, and you can actually connect this all the way up, and then the second one will go on the opposite end of this building. A third one can go right in here, and then if you feel like it, you can also place 1 large one right in the middle of this large roof section. Now to fill these in, it's really quite simple. We're going to leave this one open for now, and then for this smaller one here, just fill in the gaps. But for the larger ones, instead of filling in right underneath all of these blocks, instead go 1 block back and then fill it in from there, just so it gives the build a little more depth. Now for the roof, we're going to start to outline each one of our triangle shapes, and we're going to start with the simplest one over here to the right, which is the little mini triangle we have over here. So you can begin by placing your first spruce wood stair facing back like this, and then the next one will face to the right like that, so it has a bit of an overhang here. And then from there, you'll go ahead and work your way up to the top until you reach the middle, and once you get there, you can stop and place a half slab to finish that off, and then go back down on the other side. And this should end up leaving you right there. And then once you're done with that, go ahead and start to place in some upside down stairs in each one of the corners. And then to finish this off, what you'll do is make the little design that we used for our other buildings. And to make that, just do a full block right there, then a stair on the front face of that, and then a half slab on top of the stair. And now for the larger roof, what we'll do is actually start one block above from where we started on the smaller roof. And from this one, you can actually go 2 to the right and then 1 to the left. And from that left block, go ahead and work your way up to the middle, just like we did for the smaller roof. And once you get there, we will place in our little design once again. So if you don't remember, it's just a half slab, then a full block, then a stair, and then a half slab to finish that off. And then you can go back down on the other side. Keep in mind though, this roof here is going to be the same one on the opposite end, so I'm not going to be building that. But once you've got this down, you should be able to make it over there on the other side. And once you're there, you can start to add in your upside down stairs, and after that, it should be good to go. Now, moving on to what I would consider the most difficult out of the 3 roofs, we're going to start by taking out our spruce wood full blocks, and right above this 2 tall section, you're going to place 1 so it sticks out like that, and then do the same exact thing on the other side. Now, above every single block on top of this, you'll do the same exact thing until you reach this one here. And in fact, that's actually going to be a stair instead. So you can leave that off and then do the same thing on the other side. And once you've got that down, you can place a stair above each one of these. And then also one like that to finish it off. And then do the same thing over here to the left side until you reach the bottom. And once you get here, you can do 2 stairs on the very end like this. Same thing over here to the right. And after you've got those in, you should be good to place in your upside down stairs on each one of the corners. Just like this. And then after you have all of those placed, we can place our design in once again. And that's just going to be the half slab, then the full block, then the stair, and then to top it off, we will use our half slab again. Now, before we can actually place in our roofing material, what we need to do is connect all of these spruce wood blocks together in a way. And for this one here on the front, what we'll do is go 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th block is going to face this way. So that's how you connect that area. And then for this one up here, we'll go 1, 2, and leave it like that. And then you can do the same thing for both of those on the other side, and it should work correctly. And then we have this already done, although we may want to consider placing in a cross beam right here until we get to right about there. And then from that, we should be able to do 1 stair and then 2 stair. And then our 3rd one's going to face this way, and the rest can just continue going in like that. And then for the top, we're going to do relatively the same thing, although we are going to need a half slab right here in the middle. But then the rest of those, we're going to face in towards that until you get to the design. Once you get to this block, you're going to switch it around, and that's going to be the same for the other 2. Now, to fill in the roof, I'm going to be using the green stained clay, but if you don't like the look of this, you can always use either a different color or just some oak wood blocks. And to fill in the roof, it's really quite simple, especially on this section where it goes up 1 at a time. It does get a little more tricky where you have to go up 2 at a time and then connect it, but if you do everything right, just like I'm doing here, where you just place this to the right of all the spruce wood blocks, everything should connect quite nicely, just like that. Now, after you have your roof completed, it should be looking like this, and just to make sure you guys got everything placed in the correct locations, I'll fly around really quickly. And after this is done, what we're going to do is make a tower here. You guys have probably been wondering what this section is for. But yes, it is going to be a tower, so just in case you didn't finish this off, what you'll need to do is place in a cross beam right there, and then after you have that, go ahead and make pillars of 7 blocks above each one of these right there. Once you have those 2 pillars placed in, and they're 7 blocks tall each, what you can do is start to form the rest of the tower. So the next block is going to be back 1 and right 1, and that's going to be the same height. Then you'll skip a gap of 1 and do another section, just like that. And then moving to the back side, we're going to do another set. So that's going to be 1 pillar there, skip 1, place another pillar there, and then to finish off the last side, you guys probably already know what you're going to do, but it's just 1 pillar here, and then skip 1 and another pillar there. After all of those blocks are in, there's a couple more things we need to do before we actually add a roof to this thing. First off, go ahead and place in some cross beams in each one of these gaps, and then you'll also notice that there's a couple blocks you need to remove in order to make this tower look a bit more clean. So first off, go ahead and delete these 3 blocks right there and replace 2 of them with the spruce wood logs, and then also delete this block here, and you should be good to go. And once you have all of that cleared out, you can go ahead and fill in each one of the gaps with your wall material. Now, to give the tower a roof, you'll see I've already kind of mapped out 1/4 of it. But to show you guys how to make it, what you'll need is some spruce wood stairs and also your roofing material. And we'll start by taking a spruce wood stair and placing that upside down right here, and we'll do an upright one above that, and then we'll do the same exact thing, skipping one block and doing this, and then it's going to be one upside down stair in the middle of those top two, and then an upright stair above that. Now on the corners, what you'll need to do is take a full block, place that there, and then do a half slab beneath it, and we'll just do the same thing over on this corner. Once again, half slab beneath it. And then for the roofing material, I guess we'll start here in the middle. You're going to go up 1, 2, and then to the left and right of that you'll place one block, and then on these corners you'll do one block once again, and then in between each of these you'll go up 2 blocks like that, so it kind of matches up with that one we placed a little bit ago. And then in the middle you'll go up 2, and then on the top just add 1 to finish that off. After completing the roof on the tower, I did notice that if you add 2 blocks in here, and then also the same thing on the back side, it does make it look a little better. But just in case you guys didn't get all of that down, since I know roofing can be a little bit tricky, I'll do a quick little fly around of this thing, just so you guys can make sure you got everything placed in the correct locations. Now that we have our roof looking nice, we still need to go back and touch up a lot of our walls, since at the moment they are looking relatively plain and boring. So I figured we'd start on this little outdoor section here, and to begin with, go ahead and take out your spruce wood logs and do a pillar right here, and then you can fill in this wall completely with your wall material. And do the same thing over here on the right section as well. And then the next step we need to do is to fill in this main section here. We're not going to fill it in all the way, just so we can allow sort of air pockets for the smoke to travel through, but we will fill in these 2 blocks on the top, and then from there go down 1, 2, 3 on either side, and then do that same thing once again. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then also place one more block on each side right there, and then finish it off by going down 2 on the left and the right, and then take out your stairs and do 2 more on the corners here. After that's done, go ahead and take your spruce wood logs back out and place one right in the middle of this little gap here, and then on both sides of that you can fill it in with your wall material. And I also noticed that we may need to grab some fences really quick, because if you have any areas like this where it's a full block and then a roof one right above it, it does look very nice if you just place a fence in there. So go ahead and fly around your build, check for any of those, and if there are some, go ahead and just stick a fence right in there. Now that we have our outdoor section over here to the left looking a bit nicer, what we'll do is move on and sort of clean up the front of our build. So to start off with, I thought we could add a little roof section right above this area here. So start off by taking your spruce wood half slabs and then just kind of wrap them around this area like you see me doing here. And once you've got that initial place filled in, you can add some blocks on top of it, just like this. And then after you have that done, you can take out some fences and just place these underneath until they connect to the spruce wood blocks above them. A couple more details you can add to the front are, first, placing in 2 more spruce wood half slabs like that, and then doing a row of 3 fences above it. And then second, you can either do that same thing right below this window, or you can make a sort of flower pot like you've seen me do in the past. If you haven't seen it, it's really simple. All you need to do is place in 3 grass blocks like this, and then on the side of that you can just do 3 trapdoors like that, and then beneath it go ahead and do a half slab there, and then 2 stairs on either side, just like that, and then fill in your favorite plants or flowers right on top of the grass. So really quickly, I did go around and add a few details similar to what you just saw, so in case you guys want to see them and apply them to your own build, I'll fly around really quickly and show you what I've done. First off, as you guys have probably noticed, I did place one more window here on the front. Moving on to the right side though, I did add this little section here with the fences above it, and then also beneath this window I did one more flower pot and some fence posts on the left and right side of that, just to kind of add some support to the build. Up here you'll notice I added a extra long window. That's actually 3 blocks in total. And then on the back side, I did have to add quite a few things back here just because I noticed it was so plain. First off, we have the flower pot beneath the window on the right. On the left side, I did try to mix it up just a little bit, so I put in an archway. And up here on the top, I added 2 of those sections with the half slabs and the fences. And then over here, I didn't really do too much except add 1 more archway just to make it so this wall wasn't so flat. So if you guys do want to add a lot more detail to your build, go ahead and try some of these changes out. If you want, you can mix them up and not do the exact same thing that I did. Or if you really just want to keep your build as plain as it was, you can keep it how we had it before. And one last little bit of detail that you may want to add to your build, especially on the front, just to make it look a tiny bit better, is to take out your spruce wood stairs and place one there and one here as well. Other than that though, I think we should be good detail-wise, although we do have one last thing we need to add. It's probably one of the most important things to kind of distinguish this build. It's going to be a big giant oven on the outside of the build, so we'll get to that in just a second. So now, in order to start creating our big giant oven, what you guys are going to want to do is come over here to our outdoor section and cut yourself a 3x3 square right here. You will notice that I've already started making the oven on the other side as well. That's just so the bread can be baked from either side, depending on where most of the customers are. So to begin with, go ahead and take your full brick blocks out and do 2 sections that go up 3 high like this on either side. And then on top of this, you could do 2 stairs facing inwards like this, and then do some stone brick like that there, and then 1 upside down stair here, and also 1 upside down stair on the bottom. Then above this full block of brick, go 2 more, and then a brick stair to finish that off. And then just to make this thing look a little more decorative, you can do 2 upside down stairs on the sides like this, and then skip 1 block and do the same thing right above them. And even though we do have the main oven portion down low, we still need to make a place for the smoke to go. So what we're going to do is carve our way in here, and then from there just look straight up and break all the blocks until you get all the way out of your build. And then from there, go ahead and start from, you may have to go all the way back down to not the bottom of your furnace, but at least I'd say right here. And then from there, just kind of work your way up until you have a decently sized smokestack, and from there you can either leave it how it is, or you can decorate it a bit more, which I'll do really quickly and then show you how it turns out when it's done. So there is my chimney and how it turned out. Honestly, it's almost a little too big and fat, but I think it's very stylized and just kind of fits the overall build. But anyways guys, that is going to do it for today. There is actually a lot more detail that needs to be added to this, especially around the outside oven area, just to make it look a bit more customer friendly and make it seem like the baked goods are actually sold there instead of just taken from the oven and then walked off with or stolen. But if you guys have any ideas for maybe some exterior additions that'll make this thing look a bit better, or some stuff we can add to the interior, since that's when I'm going to be doing the rest of the stuff is in that video, please let me know down in the comments. If not, if you have any ideas for future builds we could try out, go ahead and put those down there as well. But as always, thanks for watching guys. Hopefully you did enjoy the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.